My name is Matthew Reich. I'm the co-founder of Artist for Artist. We're here with Let Music Fill My World and Artist for Action. 2 days, 2 nights full of impact and music. So we're here. We have an educational series on the music business and music industry. And then we're also talking about the importance of music education and mental health in music. So we have a pretty incredible program for you here today. In addition to the panels that we have in here, we're also hosting performances in here and performances outside, all day, all night, with artists like Passion Pit, John Popper, Blues Traveler, Ketch Secor of Old Crow Medicine Show, Neil Giraldo, you name it, we have them. So I couldn't be more excited to bring everybody together here and really bring our community together. But for right now, one of the gentlemen up here actually went viral from our panel last year. So everything that we do, we record, and then you're going to have the benefit of actually being able to see this material after again. And for Jeremy Gruber here, he went viral with one of our clips about TikTok, right?
Yeah, it was. And I do not ever expect as a manager and marketing person to go viral myself. That's usually what I'm trying to help my artists do. It was very weird for me, but it was good. It was fun. Thank you for doing it.
But it was beautiful to see, and this panel, I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from. Please give it up for my good friend Fabrice, who will be moderating this panel from Bandsintown, and take it away from Discovery to Superfans.
Different panel.
Yeah.
Change it. Yeah,
Hold on, that's not you guys.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, filling the room. Here we go. Live music growth in the age of data and AI. Enjoy.
So if anything, if we don't go viral through a conversation, we prepared a little dance at the end of the show to make sure we go viral. All right, so welcome to this panel. We're going to spend 20 minutes with a conversation around live music marketing, and then we want to make sure we take your questions, so please be prepared because we want a really interactive sessions with you guys so that we can address your specific point of interest. Is that okay? Is that cool? Do we know, just to start with, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll tell you about ourselves. Who is an artist in the room? Raise your hand. I mean, not even a professional artist, it's okay. Who's a manager? Agent? Label? Great. Other? Venue? Amazing venues, we love venues. Venues in Austin? Okay, cool, which one? This one, okay. Incredible venues. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for having us. All right, so I'm Fabrice, Sergent, co-founder and managing partner of Bandsintown, one of the largest concert discovery platform in the world with over 100 million registered users, and provider of tour data to the major digital platform out there. I want to welcome Jeremy Gruber. Jeremy, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
Could you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. My name is Jeremy. I've been in the music industry about 20 years. My current role is I'm the head of artist marketing and digital strategy at Friends at Work. The term artist marketing is something that I invented, I think, but that a few people use now. And it basically refers to the marketing that connects the artist directly to their audience and helps the artist own that audience and hopefully engage with those fans to maybe generate some money at some point. I work with artists like John Legend and Charlie Puth, but I'm also now a manager, and I've got a great artist named Victor Jones, who has 2 showcases tomorrow, if you're still here, 1 o'clock and 11:40, both at Mohawk, so that's my plug. And I was also an adjunct professor at USC and a founder of Foundy, the URL shortener and advertising platform.
Great. Anj, tell us more about you and Rivet.
Hi, everyone. My name's Anj, CEO and co-founder of a company called Rivet. That's an AI marketing platform that helps labels, management companies, artists, agencies drive more revenue for themselves. So that can be selling more tickets, which we'll talk about in the context of filling the room today, but also growing their direct fan business around merch and other types of items. And we've been working with a lot of the majors, a lot of indie labels, but then also management companies like Jeremy here, and also partnering with bigger players like Bandsintown, who provide a lot of that data for touring, and here to talk about a lot of the stuff that we do together to fill the room.
Mark, welcome to this panel. You run GigSalad. Tell us a little bit more about GigSalad and yourself.
Is this working? Nope. Here. I've been in the business for 32 years, music business. First 15 years as a booking agent, and then check. Let me do this one. Hello.
That's live, right? We're live.
1, 2, 3. All right. Good. So, do I need to repeat that? No. About 20 years ago, I started to conceptualize an event marketplace that's become GigSalad, and we are all over U.S. and Canada, and we have about 115,000 members on our site, and we have about 500 categories, and half of them are music related, and we book everything from birthday parties to corporate events, weddings, and other things.
All right, thank you, guys. So what's interesting in the panel, the discussion we've tried to create here is that we have various type of players that may, in a different manner, help artists and their manager build a successful business out of live music for their clients. So to start with, we're going to discuss, I guess, the root of everything, which is the question of who owns the fan. And who owns the fan? I think it's the root and the starting point for everything, because there's no way to fill a venue, to fill a room, if marketing doesn't come from various sources, including the artist. Not only the artist, but including the artist in a big way. Jeremy, do you want to elaborate on that? You've been indeed a trailblazer in this.
Sure. Thank you. So it's something I think about a lot because as a student of the music industry, I went to USC for the music industry program. I graduated in 2005, and 80% of record retail had gone out of business by 2006. So like I was entering a business that they could not have educated me on. We had to invent a new industry. And one of the things I think about a lot is like, how has that evolved? And I remember myself being, 16 years old and getting $20 from my mom and going to Tower Records and buying Kid A by Radiohead. And if I didn't like that CD, it was the only CD I was getting. So I had to learn to like it. That was part of the experience of getting into music. And my relationship in that was actually with the record store, with Tower Records. That's where I was going. That's where I was taking my $20. And it was the record label's job to get Radiohead on the radio so that I heard Kid A, or have my friends tell me about Radiohead, because some magazines, all MTV, the Paranoid Android video, all of these things, which I know is a different record, all of these things got to me that Radiohead's cool, I should buy that CD. Now, how do you find out about music, right? TikTok and the artists themselves sharing things, or fans sharing it, and then you go follow them on Instagram, and then you sign up for their email list. If you really like them, you buy tickets to the show. Their relationship is directly with the artist. But none of our infrastructure is really set up for that, which is the reason my job exists, because I sit in a management company now to manage that relationship, which 20 years ago didn't exist. So everything we're trying to do is figure out technology to own that fan data. It's the most important thing. So but it's also, that's where you want the relationship to be. To me, this is the biggest change in the industry, and it's constantly something we're trying to evolve. Working with kick it to Anj, Rivet has been actually a huge part of that. I think it's something that started in like 2008 with a company called Topspin, of like this idea that you could give value to audiences and collect data from that value. But now we're bringing it all into one place. So maybe that's a good setup for Anj.
Great. So, Anj, tell us share your perspective. You're building a whole company around this concept. And so why did you think that there's a need for an infrastructure? And how do you see the artist and maybe share an example on how they use it to build a different kind of relationship with their fans?
Yeah. So in addition to being an artist and musician myself, I studied engineering at MIT, and so there's another part of my brain that completely thinks about things uncreatively, let's say. And having seen just how things operate in other industries, it was really fascinating and interesting that you could have a business that sells stuff or things to their consumers but doesn't know anything about those consumers. And if someone told you that existed for any other business, you'd be like, wow, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. And that's really what we saw and realized made no sense. And so we started to build around this idea that if artists are businesses, which they are, and continue to grow as businesses, it makes sense that they should know as much as possible about their consumers, their fans, so that they can continue to serve them better. And that's the goal of every business. So in this more fragmented landscape today that we see, where now, like Jeremy pointed out, decisions and even intent and just your interests are being formed a lot earlier in your journey with whatever brand or artist. This is when you see in your TikTok feeds or in your Discord communities or in your social stories. That's when you're making decisions on things that you like and things that you want to invest deeper in. How do we pull in all of that information? How do we pull in also information on things that you're actually doing, whether you're buying tickets, you're buying products, and how do we make the artists smarter using that so that they can continue to build, whether it's their live business or other types of businesses? And that's really what we focus on and think is really important.
Mark, you've been an agent, and so I guess you realize that maybe at some point data were missing. Now, would you be much happier with data?
Oh, sure. I mean, I started in 1994 working for old bands that their audience was old people. The Glenn Miller Orchestra and Count Basie and Duke Ellington and on, Tommy Dorsey, et cetera. And it was phone calls and faxes, and the marketing was posters and marquees at the venue and in newspapers and on radio and that sort of thing. And when I went on my own in the early 2000s, it wasn't the infancy of the internet, of course, but I put up a website as a booking agent and all of a sudden started getting inundated by artists looking for gigs, looking for representation, wanting to be listed on my roster. But I was as a middle broker working with national touring acts, it often didn't make sense for me working with local regional artists. Now, but I embraced the opportunity and tried to help them learn it while I was learning it, and started by saying, listen, just you need to have some presence on this new thing, the internet, and that morphed into what I'm doing today.
Yeah, well, that's what's so interesting is that I guess the level of fragmentation of an artist's business, which includes live music, recorded music, merch, private shows, is such that data is a way to almost stitch it, because you can, if you understand better your targets, if you can qualify your audience, you're more likely to generate and create the right products that meet such an audience. So hence why we started with the question of owning the data. That being said, it's more easier said than done, actually. There's a lot of limitations from legal point of view, technical point of view. Jeremy, you want to talk us through that for a second?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of different levels of data in an artist's world. And one of the things that Anj pointed out that I've thought about a lot is the fact that we work in a business where we don't own the shopping cart. In any of those businesses, with the exception of direct-to-consumer merch, which is, 10% of most artists' business at most. Back in iTunes days, we didn't know who was downloading, and Spotify, we have Spotify for artists, but we can't connect it back. Ticketmaster, we don't own that. So managing data for me, there's multiple levels. There's Spotify for artists, Apple for artists, the ways that I'm watching the trends of my, the flow of my artists. And one of the challenges of that is A, it's segmented, and B, data doesn't tell you anything unless you ask it questions. You have to understand the scientific method in some way and test hypothesis. Then I think the data you're referring to in the actual question is first-party data, email lists. I love an email list. I know so many artists that don't have it. When I started, I have doubled every single artist I work with email list. And I use the main way of doing it is providing some value in some way. So like when John Legend his list is well over 200,000, and we have used Rivet to segment it and create all kinds of ways. And we do, every single show he plays a week before the show, everybody within 100 miles of the city gets an email, and it does impact ticket sales. So there is no question that is a super valuable thing. How do you get the data is the hard thing.
Talk to me about that. So, Anj, when you advise artists, let's say they're onboarding, they're interested in Rivet, they think they can collect first-party data, and you know that as far as we're concerned, we always believe that artists should own their data. I don't think there's a competition between a platform like Bandsintown, which I actually also allow to collect first-party data, and having artists own their own data. But there are limitations on the legal side. What advice do you give them when they start working with you to maximize the amount of data they can get on your platform?
Yeah, there's a few things that we recommend and say. So Jeremy talked a lot about first-party data, and that's huge. And we also we didn't coin this term, but zero-party data is another thing that's really important to us, and that's really fans opting in to self-report things about themselves. And so what we've done and what we recommend is creating these value opportunities, to Jeremy's point, where fans are able to receive something in exchange for self-reporting or going through some flow that allows you.
Give us an example.
Okay.
Because fans self-reporting themselves, I mean, that can get a lot of connotations. I drank too much nights last night.
Yeah, not that kind of self-reporting.
What
did you drink is helpful.
Do they report, for example?
And so for example, maybe you're doing a giveaway, and so X number of fans can enter into have an opportunity to win, say, tickets to something, and they have to tell you their favorite show that they went to last year, or maybe their phone number. Let's say their phone number. So now you have, say, 2,000 fans that gave you their phone number to have the opportunity to win, say, tickets to something, and that's something that you can then use to market to the rest of those, say, 1,900 fans that didn't get tickets, that here's a discount to that show that you missed out on. We'll be doing more stuff, and things like that.
So waitlist is a way to self-report.
Are really simple and powerful ways to collect data, but also to kind of gamify that experience of collecting that data.
Well, by the way, it's interesting you say so, because in commerce, people would tell you that you never want to leave a client in a dead end, right? There's never, so, when you are in a cart, even if the cart if you don't make the transaction, the classic e-commerce platform is going to go after you saying, hey, you didn't make that transaction. Yeah. But if you buy a ticket and the show is sold out, indeed, it's the same concept, right? It's waitlist are a way to not leave the fan in a dead end. And that's just applying good e-commerce rule in a way.
Yeah.
And so that's a good way, the good proof that the industry is getting more professional about managing this relationship with the fans. Mark, you are providing a different kind of booking opportunity to these artists. So assuming they already have a tour, their average data, they know where their fans are, but you come with a different value proposition that is, from a revenue standpoint, slightly different, but still very complementary and may even secure the sustainability of a tour. Can you elaborate on that?
So we're a geocentric site. Everybody would have a promo kit on the platform that is based on where they live. And if they are touring artists, which many are, they could set up, they know they're going on the road, they could set up other locations, and they know they're passing through, and now all of a sudden, or they can start the tour by placing themselves out there and create an anchor date for themselves, which is what as a booking agent, that's key, getting from here to there and all the places in between. But I want to also mention, as far as what Jeremy mentioned, the controlling the narrative, direct contact, having an email list is, to me, far superior than social media today. And I would strongly encourage that being the route you
Tell us, how many gigs do you book every year?
So of the category.
If you can share.
Oh, sure. I'll be glad to share. Proud to share. Last year we did 20. So of the musical artists on GigSalad, they did over 25,000 gigs and $13 million worth of
Were paid out.
Paid out.
And those artists, maybe touring artists, maybe
Correct.
different type of artists.
That's right. And
Musicians.
that's right. And less on the ticketing side. These are private corporate events. So in some cases, as I mentioned, weddings and.
Do agents consult with you when they do the routing of a tour to check that if there's a business opportunity locally that they might catch through your
Sure,
platform?
Yeah. Artists and managers create promo kits on GigSalad on behalf of their artists, and
That's smart.
They'll start there.
Yeah, so we don't have a legal representative or lawyer on this panel, but owning the data means really getting the right opt-in. First-party data requires and comes with strong legal constraints. You might, you really want, if you're an artist or manager, to be very aware of that. Do you see, we all read Live Nation / DOJ settlements as an important dynamic right now in the industry. We'll see how it plays out and it's going on. But what caught my attention, what I think is really interesting, is that one of the aspects of that settlement is that the DOJ will ask Ticketmaster to systematically share the purchase data, the purchaser data with the artist playing the show, regardless of their size or the room they are playing in. Do you see that as a good opportunity to collect first-party data and increase your email list?
Yes and no. I think it's a huge decision, and it could have a massive impact. There's a couple of issues around it. First of all, at least it pierces the veil of one of the black boxes, which I appreciate. It's a little bit too little, too late. And also, ticket data only represents, 50 to 60% of everybody who's in the room, because parents buy for kids, people buy dates and plus ones, plus twos, plus threes. You're not getting everybody who's actually in the seat. The way we've done that, I'm going to plug a couple companies, some that are here, some that aren't. Jared just looked up. He knows he's getting a plug. Seated is a great company, and Bandsintown actually has tools for this. Pre-sales. You get people to sign up for a pre-sale. Then you're getting intent data too. Even if they don't check out, you still get the intent data. That's the number one way we grow our email lists, is doing really, really targeted pre-sales. Even my developing artist, Victor, his first ever tour, we collected 800 email addresses in 2 days. Set.live, set.tools. If you want, Jared sitting right over there, you should go talk to him. That's how you collect data in the room. You can give away stuff in the room with one URL, and people can sign up for a meet and greet, for whatever you want. So I've been doing what Ticketmaster's finally getting around to for 5 years, and now they're finally giving it to us. But it's like
some ticketing companies already do it. Ticketmaster sometimes does it. What I saw with this announcement is a signal that finally everybody is aligning toward the same.
And I do want to address the legal thing, because that's what you were asking. We are as careful as we can be, but to some degree, we all get emails all the time. People can opt out. We have our unsubscribe things. We do our best, but the artist should own the data for people who buy their stuff.
So do you see ticketing as a good source of data? You take them all anyway, right? This guy is no matter what. If you want to, can we sign like a copybook and get into Rivet or not? Maybe that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Can we send a postcard?
We'll add that tomorrow.
If I send a postcard to one of your artists, I don't want.
That's strong opt-in. Yeah,
strong opt-in, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do postcard actually.
It's coming.
That's cool. It's coming first.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that's really important to us is understanding all the different ways that a fan engages with an act. And so a lot of those things happen in person at the show. A lot of those things are in digital properties. A lot of those things are physical, maybe your postcard. Like, how do we pull that in to create the most the most robust view of that fan across all those different actions, because that's when you're able to deliver kind of timely marketing and messaging and actually give them stuff that they care about and want. Everyone hates getting just random stuff that you're like, why am I getting this? And so the easier we make that for artists, the better the fan experience will be. So I think that's just another lever like you're saying, that we can pull, but it's one of, to Jeremy's point, many levers that create that full picture.
Mark, is playing a private gig a good way to create connection with new fans?
Sure, but to speak to the ticketing aspect of this and what the DOJ might do here is transparency. Any might be too little, too late, but just to get it going, just to move it forward, I think is key. And yes, private events. You're usually in a more intimate setting. You have better access to the artist, and there's an ability there to start a narrative, a story between parties that's much more private.
Great, guys. I think we covered some of the agenda today, but it's 3:12. I know we have until 3:20, so I want to be mindful of the time and give the audience an option to ask questions. Please introduce yourself and tell us who you want to ask the question to.
Thanks for all your expertise. In my other world, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm noticing like email rates, like email is becoming harder and harder to get email to function. Have you noticed, or like, have you made a decision to pivot to SMS, like as a general like rule of thumb? And like, if so, why or why not? And,
Great question. So maybe to repeat, is SMS a new channel or a relevant channel versus email?
I think it depends heavily on the artist and in my case, artist, but in your case, maybe brand or whatever. I have managed a number of SMS lists. It can be hard because if you just think about the expectation of engagement on SMS, it's very personal. And so your expectation is that you're going to get personal messages, and it's very hard for an artist, especially that's easier for a brand in some ways because you don't expect that. But if you're signing up on like Community or something, you expect when you hear like from, it was Lindsay Sterling who I managed for a long time, a lot of people didn't get it. They were like, this isn't actually Lindsay texting me. I feel weird about it. I would send a happy birthday message and people would be like, who is this? They wouldn't save the number properly. Also, managing a young pretty woman's account had challenges with it that we won't talk about now. But we did have a stalker list. So that's the challenge with SMS. I think email, though, we do really well because I think a lot of brands spam too much. Not saying you do, but a lot of brands send emails every day now. Artists only send it when they have something worth it. And our open rates are 30 to 50% sometimes still because we're being careful about what we send. But back to the question, yes, we do use SMS for certain artists. And on Rivet, you can do both.
Yeah. Great
Sorry,
segue.
I'm not advertising. I genuinely like the platform. He did not pay me. I don't own any of it. I'm not on the advisory board.
I picked Rivet for this panel.
Yeah, it's true. There's no exchange between us. I think to your question, I think the way we think about it is it really does depend. And on one of the things that has driven how we've built the platform is to be able to answer that question in each case at scale. So for this individual, we have access to them across WhatsApp, SMS, email, maybe Discord. And we've seen that over this period of time, this is actually where they open stuff or this is where they click on stuff. So now the platform can just only do that. And so you don't have to worry about those nuances, and then at scale you can really personalize that experience to the individual fan down the channel that they prefer. That might even differ. Say we saw them buy tickets via text, but we saw them go click to the music in an email. Like those nuances also can be carried forward, and that's what you really can do with technology that understands your fans and owning that fan.
I agree. I think that once again it's important to be fan-centric and to respect the desire and the behavior of the fans. We see that on our platform. We have like 45 million people visiting our sites, apps, emails, whatever, you name it. I'm not judgmental if they use one platform versus another. And there are some people who just use the app or just use the mobile web or use the email. That's okay. And I think artists need indeed to look at their consistency and their fans, respecting their behavior, their expectations, anticipating those behaviors, and making their life easy to become a fan. So, one more question. Come on. Yes, please.
Hello, thank you for your time. My name is Diana. I was wondering if you all could share at what point in an artist's career these tools and resources are helpful.
And what?
Uh,
Can you introduce yourself briefly?
Diana.
What do you do?
I'm an actor primarily, but
Okay. Welcome.
I'd say for us, it's definitely as an emerging artist, if you're starting out. We certainly have full-time professionals that make their living primarily or entirely off of GigSalad, but it's a great place for emerging artists to get gig work. If you're recording, if you are waiting for the bigger dates, for us, for what we can provide for you isn't it much better to not that you don't want to be a bartender or a barista or something else as a side hustle, but if you could be playing music while you're trying to play music, then GigSalad's really great for that place.
Yeah, and I'd say at the earlier stages, it's about growing and building the right foundations for scale, so having the right systems in place so that you are building your email list, you are understanding the 10 fans that you have now, and then maybe as you're much larger, it's about optimizing, okay, could I grow this by 10% or raise the lifetime value of my fan from $100 a year to 150, and the problems are different, but using the tools to solve those problems I don't think matters and is independent of stage.
You agree, Jeremy?
Yeah, I also just think that don't get overwhelmed. Because it can feel like you need to do everything. Social is very important, but you don't own it, and it changes constantly. I mean, every couple of weeks, the algorithms change and all that. So you don't own that. But it's so important, and it's how you grow and get popular. These algorithmic platforms, actually what I went viral for last year was pointing out that TikTok is not actually social media. It's an entertainment platform that helps you grow via an algorithm. You don't own any of that stuff long term, so you do need to move it somewhere you own. And there are free tools. So if you can't afford a platform, you can start a Substack. That's free. You can make money from it. There's other ways to do things, so get scrappy and creative, but it's very important to think about ownership from the beginning.
I totally agree. Seeding, that's really, really important. That's a mindset. It's just being business-minded. I would say the same thing, by the way, for creating the account on Bandsintown. The earlier, the better. Even if you play one show, list it on Bandsintown. It's going to go immediately on Bandsintown and Spotify and YouTube and Apple and whatever. So do it. The earlier you start building a following, the better you'll be, because your fan will be used to communicating with you. All right, guys, I think it's time to wrap. I really want to thank our panel. The discussion hopefully was helpful to all of you. If you have more questions, I'm sure we'll be happy to take them individually, one-on-one. We know it's hard, we know it's difficult, we know it's challenging, but we hope we did contribute a little bit to open your mind and help you grow your business and your art. Thank you for being there today.
Good little plug.
Excellent.
Yeah, thanks, Sergent.
Oh, you're good.
Give it up one more time for your esteemed panelists.
Well done. Thank you very much. There goes light, not guitar. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you. We're excited for tonight. I'm sure
I can't remember where.
Well, we talked and we had conference calls. Until the next one? Okay.
So I encourage everybody now to meet the person next to you, turn to somebody that you haven't met before, and make a new connection. Grab a coffee, grab a pastry, have a good talk, and our next panel is coming up shortly, which is on turning music IP deals into experiences, presented by RWS Global. Coming up shortly.